Silences by Mark Wardle.
The man just had no silences. Wherever she was in the house, she would hear it. Even in the study, the one place she had a right to expect some solitude, some chance to escape, some silence. But no.
You finished in there?
He'd had no patience either. She had waited until late in life to find the happinesses that other people spoke so blithely of, the whirlwind romances, the honeymoons, the unbidden bundles of joy her contemporaries had all celebrated as her career began to take off. She had missed out on each through her 30s, her 40s, her 50s. She'd never seemed to have the time. There hadn't been the room in her life for any noise beside the writing. There had to be some space left over after she walked away from the typewriter. There had to be that room for idle contemplation and thought. There had to be silences. And these had kept her from love. She'd written of love, of course, from time to time, and of passion in abundance, but mostly with reference to the dark obsessions and poisonous jealousies that could drive a woman or man to a desperate crime of passion. The stock in trade of the psychologically informed whodunit. But these passions had always remained only a mystery to her. Only late in life would she discover passion, and what a woman could be driven to endure by excess of it. Her niece had introduced her to internet dating. The same niece who'd done her best to convince her to move from her rickety old keyboard and Tipex fumes to the uninviting laws of Word for Windows. She'd resisted both with ease up until then. On paper, he had seemed such a catch. The perfect match for her quiet, solitary existence. The foil to her dark and lonely evenings with the lights switched out and only sad thoughts for company. He'd taken her for long, energetic walks, a little longer and more energetic than she was naturally inclined to, and he pointed out the wildlife and shared with her the fascinating exuberance of taxonomic names for things she'd always appreciated for their simple beauty and their silence. But she still needed to work. And when she left him alone to disappear into her study, Despite her monumental effort to explain why he shouldn't, he constantly interrupted to interject himself and his suffocating petty needs and requirements into her private world of words. At times he seemed to get the message, but that's when the humming started. The terrible, tuneless, relentlessly oppressive dirge. He was adamant she imagined. In the interrupted silence, she could no longer hear dialogue, no longer weave complex, interlinking strands of relationship and motive and alibi. The typewritten manuscript was becoming stale in a way that no amount of Tipp-Ex could correct. But a plot was beginning to form. She knew where to buy the necessary ingredients. She'd already done the research. In all academic innocence, of course. And now all her passions were thrown into the weaving of old narrative strands. The plots of 3 different bestsellers came together all too easily to create her plan. The fumes from the bathtub had felt much like those of the correcting fluid she'd always used. Cleansing, perfecting, leaving behind only seamless white and silence. She'd binned all his things. They were too painful a reminder, she told her niece, of the man who had left without a word, without so much as a note. She threw herself into her work to distract herself from the upset, returning to the manuscript to pick up where she'd left off before all the unpleasantness. She sat at the keyboard, so quiet and neat. She pressed return from where the plot had become so stale. The cursor fluttered down the left hand of the screen, and a fresh, new, untouched white page appeared. A new chapter. She began to write.
In Silences by Mark Wardle. The writer was played by Edith Lint. The producer was Andrew Tildersley.